Good afternoon, I'm Jon. This is Andreea. We're representing Purewater Corporation, and today we'll be talking to you about our reading, which is Milestones for Successful Venture Planning. And this concerns a new firm, maybe an entrepreneur leading the firm, who faces a whole lot of challenges. You may face things such as how to get the right capital to back the firm. You may face challenges with the markets that he's entering, challenges in how to even set up the process to produce products to go for those markets. So there is a multi-step process that is detailed here, which helps us get into the market with the firm. So here is the beginning. The step begins with sort of idea models of the product or service. We have verifying the market, which is the process of using available marketing data that may be out there that we can look up or collect to basically make sure that the product we'd like to release or service we'd like to release has enough demand. But in addition to that, it's not enough. We need to make sure that there's profit available. And that's the upside gain to the market. Can the firm make money on a continuing basis based on this market data? The next step would be we have now some sort of prototype and we're looking for getting financing sort of together. We have, if the puzzle piece represents a product or service, it's going out to a larger market with needs. And those market needs that are out there are like the way the puzzle piece fits in. And we have to make sure that we get them exactly right and lined up with the right characteristics of the product. So that's sort of that model stage of lining those things up. Our next step is to take us a little bit past models into beginning of operation, some very small scale operational tests of the process. You may have all heard of, you may have not heard of a company that's called the White Star Lines, but you probably have heard of or seen their ship, which is the Titanic. This is a famous example of a product that they didn't need to test because it was, it was up to specs and it was the biggest ship ever built. Why test it? They didn't really run it into, to do lots of extensive engineering tests of that nature. That's the kind of thing that this kind of stage will help you with. It's to look for those missing, unthought of pitfalls that maybe weren't in your original idea model, and you're doing this on this scale. And now I'll turn over to Andreea, who will talk about more of the actual next steps, which are selling to customers on a small scale and then larger scales.
So the next big step is actually entering the market and starting to sell to customers. So the feedback obtained from these customer reactions is vital to determining whether the pricing strategy is actually correct and to finish up the feasibility of the process in order to enter the production phase. So the first few production runs are very important to determining the timing, the marketing efforts required, and the financial investments that are going to be required throughout the process. At this stage, it's also really important to build up inventory in preparation for the first big shipment. So the first big shipment is known as the bellwether sale. This is the first big sale to an important distributor. So this is very important because it reveals a lot of market info regarding large-scale sales. And from this info, you can understand new channels that haven't been pursued yet. For example, Hypostat, in their bellwether sale to a hospital, they can possibly understand that the hospital might also be interested in having their slurry technology incorporated into ambulances in order to transport the patient faster to the hospital and in order to cool them faster so that they have a higher chance of survival. So this might present a new market opportunity. The next important stage is the player's first competitive position. At this point, the player has no idea what the competitors in the market are thinking. So the only thing he can do is anticipate their actions. And then furthermore, he can study these actions to understand the true competitive positions. So we can take this race as an analogy. The entrepreneur here in the front has no idea what he's up against. So the only thing he can do is anticipate his opponent's reactions. So the first possible option is that the opponent can just come out really slowly, not have a strong marketing effort, just half-hearted effort. Then he can know that that he doesn't really have any competition. He can just continue to launch his competitive strategy. However, if the competition has a really strong marketing effort, very strong sales and marketing, then the entrepreneur can revise and redesign his strategy in order to better compete in this market. At this point, the redesign redirection is going to incorporate all the data collected from the market thus far. So you can study the differences between what the market desires and what your product actually offers in order to capture all of the market opportunity that you can. Based on this revision, you can then incorporate this into your product to incorporate the market needs. The last and final stage is the price change. This is actually your first significant price change. Changes in the technology and costs and in competitors are going to drastically influence your bottom line. This means that you need to adapt your price according to these changes. So based on, you're going to need to adapt your price based on changing fixed costs, variable costs, maybe targeting a different market segment. And in order for your business to survive, you're going to have to make this adaptation. So in conclusion, the 10 steps I just explained can be revised in order for the venture to convert the competitive threats into competitive advantages. Thank you. At this time, take any questions.
In the article, author advocated event milestones. But as with every new venture, every new venture probably has limited finance, and there are hard dates where they have to complete a certain objective. So how would you suggest to the entrepreneur to reconcile these two competing objectives? Obviously, he will want to have as much time as possible to complete his event-based milestone, but there's a date that's set due to his financial restraint. For example, he might not have enough money to do whatever, complete all the event-based milestones at his own time. So what would you suggest to the entrepreneur to reconcile these two conflicting interests?
All the event milestones sort of change per industry, so it's kind of up to the entrepreneur to understand, like, based on any past history they can find out about the industry, about the timings, for real timings, like date timings, they can. That's going to help. But he may be in uncharted territory, in which case, claiming that you're going to do something in 3 months, I can do it. But if the process doesn't get there, it doesn't help to claim the 3 months. That's why the look and see sort of model of the events, you sort of fall back to it when you don't have enough information to predict, like, in the future.
Yeah, so that's why the milestones are really based on events as opposed to a certain time limit, because the time limit really is kind of dependent on the market, what the competitors, what the cost of the market, and new technologies that emerge. You can't really predict that ahead of time, so that's why you base the milestones on certain events that will happen in the future. And when you estimate around which point, but you don't really predict a certain date.